Guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here as I straighten up the screen, which will never be perfectly straight for me and my OCD. But today, I wanted to talk about and do an overview of the Hinderer Half Track. It is a little chode of a knife, but yet it's a little thinner than some other Hinderers. I was going to walk through it with you guys, give you my thoughts on it, my feelings, and how it makes me feel. This is going to be just kind of like a general overview and talking about. So buckle up while we jump into the Hinderer Half Track. The first thing I noticed about the Hinderer Half Track when I started chasing it was that it came in many different blade steels, many different finishes. This is actual raw titanium. They also, on this drop that just happened today, had some working finish, which is also kind of darker titanium. I like the raw titanium. It's one that wasn't in my collection, but neither is the working finish. So they're both awesome finishes. I really like all the Hinderer tie side finishes. But if you notice, looking at the width of the scales, and I'll have some specs off a Hinderer's site there, they do seem, and this knife does seem altogether a little thinner than my XM18. And what we'll do, I would say I'll pause the video, but I don't like to do edits. I like to just kind of roll through it. So I'll go get a couple of other Hinderers here in a second and we'll compare the thickness. But they also make it in drop points in different blade configurations. But the ones that have been out through USA Made Blades, which is where I got this knife, which is where I'll list the specs in the description from, is the Wharncliffe variation. And this knife struck me as looking wickedly cool for a smaller knife that's still thick and very able to do hard work. But for an EDC knife, the way that it fits my hand, the way that it offers me a choil, and the way that it has that angled point that is super sharp is just right up my alley. It's just my jam. So like the knife, even though it was smaller, it is tri-way. This is the Gen 2 half track, so it's on the tri-way bearing system. It is not as drop shutty as my other Hinderers yet. I think a lot of that's because of the blade weight, but I think the majority of that is I have carried those knives much more, flicked those knives much more. This knife is been carried. See how I just almost flicked it all the way out, but I didn't get it on that fuller. It is definitely flickable, and I've had several successful flicks, but I just really need to work it in more, break it in more, get used to it, and probably add some lube to it, because I've not lubed this knife, and I've had it now for probably 2.5, 3 weeks that I've been carrying this knife and using this knife for my EDC task, which would be, as you guys know, opening Amazon packages, cutting shit, nothing hard, not feathering any sticks, as my buddy Ray from Everyday City Carry would say. Haven't feathered any sticks with this, but it would be a very capable feather sticker. So the overall gist of this knife is it is small, it is compact, but it is very ergonomical, and it allows the work of a much beefier knife. I think the word that we like to use in the community is chonk. It is a little chonky knife, and I dig the way it makes me feel. The one thing I would love about the overall feeling of this knife, and I haven't had any luck yet, is to find a titanium show side scale and just the raw titanium, whether it's textured or smooth. I'd rather have it textured, but I'd jump all over a smooth one as soon as I see it. I've got 2 of my Hinderers that still have G10 show sides. That's the half track here, and also my 3-inch Skinner. So This knife comes in, let's do a couple of quick size comparisons, or what we'll do first is we'll just see how long this knife is. Since it is shorter, we'll use Ben Peterson's, aka Ben Banter's, aka NAFCO, little ruler that's 6 inches long. So I'm going to, using my non-scientific method, going to say this knife is right under 7 inches overall length. The blade is going to come in right at 2 3/4, and the handle's going to come in right under 4 inches. That's close enough for horseshoes and hanging-nays, close enough for me. And the point that I was trying to make, and we'll look at in a couple of quick size comparisons, is for a Hinderer. It is a smaller Hinderer. We'll see how it compares to the 3-inch, because y'all are going to be patient and wait 15 seconds when we do this size comparison. Starting out with the Civivi Baby Banter, so you can see, well, yes, John, that is a smaller Hinderer. And then we'll put it up against the Cold Steel 4MAX, which absolutely dwarfs it. So if you guys will listen to the music for 2 seconds. I appreciate that, and should have just paused it and edited it together, but I want to show you guys, especially those of you that are into Hinderers, how it compares with the 3-inch. My favorite Hinderer, which came from a good buddy of mine, Dark Gravity, is the 3-inch Skinner blade, which is longer than the Half Track. This is a 3.5-inch XM18. So it is a much smaller knife. So the thing that struck me when I got it was the thickness. It is a little bit thicker than the 3-inch, but the blade stock comes down to a sharper edge, and to me it's more slicey. And it is much thinner than the XM18, both in blade stock and in scale side. So, and when we talk about droppy, the lighter the blade and the less broken in it is, the less it's going to want to drop. So does not bother me. Again, the ergos of this knife for my hand, which is a medium to large size hand, are fantastic. So you'll notice I've got this natural choil behind the flipper tab there, and I've got this jimping on the butt of the knife. My 3 fingers naturally fall right there. My 4th finger falls right where that jimping is. I don't feel the clip. Hinderer does a great job with their clips, in my opinion. The jimping is a little understated, but it's plenty to keep my finger right there. But the way that I use this knife and have been using this knife is to go up and take advantage of that choil, let my finger slide up, open my packages, or use it in this grip and open my packages, or use it in this grip. It's just a great utility knife. If this was the drop point, it would kind of change up that dynamic into why the Wharncliffe was so appealing to me when I saw that they were being dropped at USA Made Blades. I keep thinking if I throw that flick in there every now and then here in a second, it will just, I will hit it, because I hit it probably once every 20 times, and I don't know if it's just the pressure that I'm putting on the lock bar, which I don't think it is. I think it's just the fact that there are no sharp edges on this choil. It's real slick, and then again, it's not very well broken in. But this is 20 CV, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry, I am mistaken. This series is in Magnacut. So this is Hinderer's Magnacut. I'd be curious to see what Brian at Transparent Knives, if he's had any experience testing the Hinderer Magnacut. I do not know about the heat treat. I do know in my use and with my EDC, the edge has stayed very keen, very sharp. I haven't cut hundreds of feet of paper, but I have cut a lot of cardboard, and it's still very slicey. That was my grip. And the fact that I'm not the greatest paper cutter. And it could probably benefit from a stropping. You almost got to see me shave off the top of my thumb, which would have shown you how it works on a little bit more coarse material. But yeah, it is for a Hinderer, and I don't say that negatively about the Hinderers that are hard-working knives, but it is very slicey. Get that out of the way. And see that right there? That's where I came really close to getting my thumb. My thumb is scared. Now, if as the video goes on we start spurting blood, we'll know that I did get myself. But guys, I am a late adapter to Hinderer knives, something that didn't really catch my attention early on, of course, because the cost. This little knife comes in at $425 in Magnacut. If it was made by Rick in S45 or 20 CV, it would still be $425. That's one of the things that I respect about Hinderer, and I'm sure a lot of people think that's overpriced, but for a USA made quality materials, from the titanium to Magnacut, the fit and finish, the Chicago style screws, the fact that this knife was just it's put together very well. It is very well tuned, and I think the fact that he keeps all his knives at $425, I think that's awesome, and I think that's the value for an American made knife of this quality. And every one of my Hinderers, if I'm not mistaken, this one was a different price because it came from one of my best friends. I want to say this one was right around either $425 or $475. I'd have to go back and look. But the point is, they all come in for right around the same price. They're not... The accessories, you can accessorize them like I have on my flipperless Eclipse, which came with the G10 scale, and which was, I want to say, $475. But then when you buy the Hinderer hardware and clips, you can add, or the show side titanium scales, because they're titanium, of course you're going to pay for that. I don't think you're paying any unfair amount. It's just will drive the cost of the knives up. If you like to, you know, some people personalize their knives. Some people use their knives for different things, right? And some people use their knives because they like the way the knives make them feel. And when I say make them feel, what I mean by that is simply how it feels when I'm using it compared to other knives in my collection that I use. How it feels in my pocket when I'm carrying it, knowing that I may or may not be able to use it or get an opportunity to use it. But I don't, and the reason I differentiate is I don't mean how does it make me feel like if it was jewelry or if it was a watch or a car. It's just, you know, this knife is one that I have a lot of pride of when I put it in my pocket because it's made in America. And I also know it's going to be very capable of whatever I might need it to do. So to stop the rambling and to thank you guys for stopping by, I will depart with this. Please look out for the guy or girl to your left. Please look out for the guy or girl to your right. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my content. We've got a lot of content that I hope to put out here in 2023. Hope to continue to be able to give you a video a day and some shorts when time allows. always read the comments and see what you guys want me to get into or show in. The only thing I'm trying to do is keep the observations to knives that I bought that are in my collection, or that might be some of my local buddies. I've got 3 really good friends that live here, that we get together and have lunch, and there's a couple of knives that I'm familiar with that I think y'all would be interested in, and some of their collections that I might be able to share with you guys, if y'all would be interested in seeing those. But to date, they've just been knives from my collection, and that's the way I like to keep it, and just be objective with the things that I see. If I see something that's subjective, but mainly it's just subjective musings of what I think about knives. I am a knife lover, a knife enthusiast, and just a dude who appreciates every one of you, and go forward with love in your heart. You're going to disagree with people from time to time in the chat, in the community. That's okay. Just go forward with debate before hate. I love you all. Peace.